Thank you for joining us. The conversation on rejigging security continues as bandits and unknown gunmen, that is now one of our favorite expressions, continue to strike. So how will the federal government resolve these challenges that have plagued the country? In every beer parlor in town now and in every get-together, the issue of security is what every Nigerian is talking about. And this week, on Tuesday actually, these unknown gunmen attacked the Defense Academy, no less, the Defense Academy. So, we need to start discussing this matter very seriously. If we all thought it was a joke before now, we have seen just how serious this is. If the Defense Academy could be hit by these people successfully. Now, we have 3 security consultants with us this morning who are going to discuss this with us. In the studio with us, we have Pastor Laddie Thompson. Good morning.
Pleasure is always mine.
Joining us via Zoom is Sheyi Adetayo, Senior Regional Vice President, ACES International. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Now former Regional Vice President.
Oh dear. And from our studio in Abuja, we have Mike Ejiofor. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, he will join us very soon.
Okay. Now, Pastor Thompson, the Defense Academy was attacked. I don't know about you, but I, as a Nigerian, felt very embarrassed. So, okay, we've been complaining about insecurity everywhere. Schools have been attacked, but they're not a Defense Academy. They don't have arms. But the Defense Academy, what are your thoughts about that and our security situation?
Well, let's take a look at it from this perspective, that there's a crisis. And the good thing about crisis, which is funny, is that if you handle crisis properly, you get good results out of crisis. Now, I'd mentioned a while back that the major real enemy of Nigeria had arrived, finally. The more intelligent, patient, scientific, and cruel enemy. So picking the NDA as a target was deliberate. It had to do more with symbolism than actual kidnaps in hope for ransom. Now, the objective of all that, again, is the clinical use of fear in hope that that will break the spirit of the nation, crush our soul, and then there will be like a domino effect. Because you see, once fear is used to destroy the spirit of a nation, a handful of people can take over a whole nation. But you see, what they have done is that they've given us the opportunity to now sit down, and it has become obvious to the federal government right now that we need to begin to listen more, because all we've seen so far, my good friend Enaya Okomo has gone, is no more, but I know how much he spoke, how much he labored for this country, how much he counseled. In fact, one of the last things he said was that we need to toughen the conscience of Nigerians. Now, the time has come for us to realize that we'd better get it right now or never. To get it right, let me say this quickly. First of all, there's nothing going on in Nigeria that should surprise anybody. If we claim to be surprised, we must be like maybe like a milkmaid who is surprised at a pregnancy. In 1960, 7th of October, Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa spoke about the intractable problems of Nigeria. And he spoke about the fact that when the time comes, when these intractable problems cannot be avoided anymore, he spoke about the fact that we needed to use something called eternal truths to resolve the issues. I'm yet to see any counsel in the whole of Nigerian history that applies to this hour today as that of Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa. Now, this is interesting. He was a solid Muslim. He had mentioned that at the beginning of Nigeria, 3 faiths prayed. In a diplomatic way, he spoke about all the problems we're having today. Now, I can speak on behalf of the church. She was a solid Muslim. From our end, they say, look, when the Spirit of truth is come, he talked about eternal truth. We are told that the Spirit of truth should guide us into all truth and that he will show us things to come. So we will see that there's a synergy already if we are really sincere about this nation. What we need to do is to accept the fact that, look, I mean, for instance, there's a war of narratives going on right now. The greater part of the terrorism war is a war of narratives. It's not even the kinetics. We have said this before, I've said this again. Go and check your archives. At best, with the best of kinetics, the military, the Air Force and everybody can't do more than 32% of the solution to this problem. So anything beyond this point, if the government does not supply us with the other three things, three basic pillars that every nation has to curb the spread of terrorism, then we may have a problem on our hands, because then the war of narratives may point to something else. Now you are media, and in the war against terrorism, media is a force multiplier. I've said this over and over again, and I think we need to come to the time where we need to come to the agreement that we have to make sure that the entire Nigerian media hosts some seminars where consultants can come and break down for you how the reporting of terror is part of terrorism itself. Right now, both the federal government and the media, everybody's just doing, working out things, but it has escalated, the war of narratives. I remember a few days ago turning onto channels, and I saw that, oh my God, the war of narratives has escalated. And none of the narratives coming from both the left and the right is true. And if we don't get the war of narratives right, the truth is in deep trouble. What is this war of narratives I'm talking about? It's something very simple. I heard one of your guests talk about the Islamization and the Fulanization of Nigeria. Now, I'm not going to agree with that, and I'm going to tell you why I don't agree with it. And I've been working on this from 1999. I've been studying this thing. It's a hydra. It uses religion as a disguise. I remember I heard him say that the center of gravity was in high places in Nigeria. No, it's a global problem. For 5-6 years, Osama bin Laden was in Sudan next to us here. And it is on record publicly that many Nigerians consulted him. So what am I trying to point out is that some people want to Islamize a nation is not a crime. Some people want to Christianize a nation is not a crime. A nation refuses to do what is right, to put in this, what I call the firewalls, to ensure that the manner in which you do whatever you are doing is proper and right, is where the problem can now be. What we've allowed in Nigeria is a build-up of narratives that is actually helping the global terrorism form that is showing up here. Now, I keep telling people that you look at the architecture of thought behind what is facing Nigeria. It is too sophisticated to be something that is homegrown. Local. And it has always been like that.
Okay, I think we can take this to Abuja, Mr. Mike Ejiofor. Good morning, and thank you for joining us. We're talking about starting with the attacks on the NDA. Share your thoughts with us, what you think could have, where the ball was dropped, at what point, what could have gone wrong? How could that have happened?
Well, if you say something has gone wrong, nothing went wrong. I think this is a national embarrassment. And, the intention of the terrorists or the bandits is to create fear, instill fear, and make people lose confidence in government. Now, you look at what is the purpose of attacking NDA? They're just sending a message that they are still very potent. They still have the power of challenging our military. And that is very, very unfortunate. I don't know how we got here. You recall that there have been attacks in the forest close to that same NDA, and there's still another School of Forestry, and we sit down, fold our hands, and not do anything. What I think is that people go do things without consequences, without sanctions. I believe the military must have instituted investigation to see what led, because if you read in the papers, you see a lot of speculations. People in the monitoring room were asleep, some people went away. These are the things that should be, because ordinarily, I would have expected that before this book came in, with all the cameras mounted and all, they should have been seen. But it does appear that they were not seen when they were coming, and they had a field day. It's quite unfortunate, and I don't know. Would I say we are now being overwhelmed? And what do we do to come out of this quagmire? It's a major problem, and I think we should change our strategies to contain this situation. For instance, you recall last year that an American citizen was kidnapped in Niger and taken across to Nigeria. America took the initiative in collaboration with the Nigerian Security Forces and Intelligence Agency to get their citizens rescued with zero casualty, and yet some of the bandits were killed and the victim released. So why don't we change strategy and look at issues of collaboration? If you call it mercenary, if you like, call it mercenary, that Nigeria should now hire and get some of these foreigners to assist us, because it does appear that we are incapable of handling the situation the way it is. So I call, you see, Nigerians like prayer, and they continue praying. This has definitely gone beyond prayers. We need to change our strategies. We need to equip our military, equip the intelligence services, because you see, these operations are intelligence driven. And if I tell you without being immodest, the quantum of intelligence being gathered by the intelligence agency. But how do we use this intelligence? How do we prosecute the war? How do the intelligence provided? You don't expect people. If, for instance, the intelligence provides that there's going to be an attack and all this on a particular place, how prepared are we to counter that attack? Are you going to force people to? So we need some technology, at least drones. Before this, they move in groups. That's the annoying aspect of it. They move en masse. And for them to take, at least if we have enough technology to monitor their movement, as they are moving out, we can use our Air Force, we can use other tactics, or lay an ambush for them. But a situation where they come from the hideout, come into the town, come to the heart of an institution like the NDA and attack, is quite embarrassing, and we need to change our strategies.
Mr. Adetayo. Mr. Adetayo.
Yes.
What Mr. Ejiofor has just spoken about, we have spoken about many times on this program. They go sometimes in a convoy of motorbikes, and they abduct children from schools. They abduct hundreds to move 100 children, 100 persons is no mean feat. You're not going to move them in one Danfo bus, for instance, or one, even the BRT bus. 100 children will not fit in one bus. So they go in a convoy of vehicles. And it seems like nobody sees anything, nobody hears anything. And Mr. Ejiofor is telling us about intelligence gathering. What happens to all the intelligence? How come they're not able to, if not even prevent this from happening, at least intercept them when they're carting these people away?
Frustrating and tiring, having to discuss this over and over again. I can tell you here already that the issue is not as a result of death of intelligence. Precisely, this NDA attack was predicted, or let me say, the agency responsible. I mean, they know that they were actually informed about 2 months ago, naming NDA and some other facilities as facilities that these people are prepping to actually attack. Now, when I try to talk about issues around intelligence, it is not for want of intelligence. It's about how we respond or we make use of the intelligence at our disposal. Now, at times it might be seen, and we'll look at it as, okay, we've been receiving this before now. Okay, don't worry, we continue to live under the false assumptions that these people will be afraid to attack such a facility. But one thing we fail to understand is that a terrorist or bandit has a choice of target selection. There's something about target selection. They have arrays of targets that they can pick from. And one thing they do is that they do their own assessment of a target and look at the weakest point, the most vulnerable aspect of that target, and they strike. A facility like NDE that have witnessed, attacks around it on facilities very close to it, should have that better understanding that there's need for them to do a reassessment of the physical security of that facility and identify possible areas that can be breached and how will they actually respond. But the issue actually goes beyond that, because you made a valid point. Like, these people moved en masse, and nobody's talking, and that's that brings us back to what Pastor Thompson said earlier, and it's like it spoke my mind on the issue of the war narrative. You see, the battle here, what we are failing to understand is that it is not the war we are fighting is the wrong war. The war that these people are fighting is the war of the mind. They are trying to win the mind of the people. We are also trying to win the mind of the people, but they are more strategic in winning the mind of the people. They are using fear. They are using everything possible to ensure that the people will succumb to their whims and caprice. And that's the reason why when these people move, nobody dare talk. They know that if they give information, they will know where the information comes from, and then they will go back there and go and attack them. And as long as we are not getting the needed support from the people, from the populace, we can never win this war. The strategy, see, I get tired when I hear about kinetic and not kinetic. You see, Nigerians were used to, all these big grammars, all this kinetic and not kinetic came. Nigeria does not need grammars like kinetic or whatever. Please solve the problem. That is the issue. Don't talk to us about kinetic. People really need to have that comfort that government will provide results. And that is the issue here. And the only way people can have comfort is that we need to begin to tell the people the truth. And that was where we got it wrong from the beginning. Right from when this thing started, I kept saying this, that it is wrong for you to tell the people that you win the war in 1 month or 2 months. No country has ever won this kind of war, even in 10 years. Go out there, prepare the mind of the people that the kind of war that we are having today, other countries in the world have been fighting this, took them many years. This is a war that we're going to fight for many years. People's mind will have been prepared. But because we're looking for the quick wins, we're looking for the low-angle fruits, because the president there kept firing service chiefs. So each service chief quickly want to do something quick to say, oh, I'm working. And we are not actually treating this thing, at the root of it. So as more incidents are happening, people begin to lose confidence. The kind of support that the people should be given. So let me tell you, there are intelligence, there are information. I came into contact, in contact with some information related to, the description, information regarding who are these people, the leadership of the bandits, their location and everything. And I know that this incident have been happening. Our MO, as in our mode of operation in terms of how we respond. The bandits are quite aware that our soldiers, they are brave soldiers, they are working, they are tired already, they are exhausted. If they see that these people don't currently have the capacity or the reinforcement to enter the forest, they will fight them on the road, kill as many they can kill on the road, and then they retreat. So these people know that the moment they enter the forest, they are safe until we take the war to the bandits in the forest. Until we take the war to them at their base, we might not be able, to solve this problem. So we need to let people understand now and say, I understand the fact that Mr. President is doing so much. He doesn't want to leave office disgrace, but at the same time, you also need to let the people understand that there is much that he can do within this remaining period. This work cannot be won within the remaining period that I have. It has never been done before. But this is what we are planning to do. This is what we expect from the people. This is the kind of assurance we are going to give to you. That if you give all this support, we are going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, to ensure that you are protected and these people never come back to homes.
Okay. Mr. Adeta, just hold your thoughts. Let me bring this back to you, Pastor Thompson. He has said that there's the need for the support of the populace. You mentioned earlier, and I noted it, that there are 3 basic pillars. We are looking for solution. We all know the problems. Governor Zulum this week gave statistics as to over 100,000 people killed in Borno State alone in the last decade or so of this war. What are these pillars, the 3 pillars that you mentioned, and how can we re-strategize to ensure that these kind of things don't happen again?
Actually, 4. The 4th one is the restructure of your army and your security architecture to handle asymmetrical warfare and hybrid threats. Now, that will leave for the federal government, But the other 3 concerns all of us. First of all, we must have a higher value system than the people trying to overrun the country. Don't forget that the challenge they have is that their numbers are small. We are 210 million people in Nigeria. The people who are overrunning us are not up to 100,000. So we must have a better value system where the life of every citizen is so highly valued that the citizen is ready to do a lot for the country and shows no sympathy for those who are coming in to destroy his nation. We must have a superior architecture of thought. You don't do this and be at the same level of thought with the people who are taking your country apart. You must be 12 steps ahead. You see? But I'm still saying that the most important one for right now is the war of narratives. And I believe that this is where we need to help to bring everybody on board. A lot of the attacks that are going on are working with the collusion. There's a lot of collusion going on. Why? We forget that as a nation, we came from a history of divide and rule. The demonization of the southern part of the country in the colonial years, the build-up to the independence, was done on the basis of religion. And whether we like it or not, that wide gulf in religion has often been exploited by many. Now, this global hydra is extremely intelligent. What it does is that it digs up your history, it looks at your strengths. Look, I've advised 4 generations of current presidents. We were the first in the line of target of this thing. And that's how come we started studying from 1999. So we've had a much longer time, attended several global conferences, done all sorts of stuff. Ever before Nigerians even began to see it, we were already tracking it. So let me give you an example of what we mean by a war of narratives. Now, on one side, some people are saying, oh, it's religious, it's this. We dare not allow that to fly. The questions we need to ask is this. Number one, where was the federal government when a female was engaging the war of narratives in the hallowed chambers in Abuja in 2018, was it, when she began to equate and justify the value of a life of a citizen to that of a cow? You see, what you don't know is that once you begin to inject such things, you are legitimizing what those people are doing. Where were we when a serving governor left the country and went out to a neighboring country to take money to appease people who are coming in to come and destroy us here? Now, don't forget that we have studied this hydra. This hydra works with stealth. We have said many times that there are even, the hydra collapses nations from within. And that's why you need to get the whole country working together, not just the army. Now, to get the whole country working together, there are some things you don't allow. I'm going to say, for instance, that the presidency has a few questions to answer. Because if you want to build the confidence of the people, there are some things that we must never allow. I'm going to tell you that apart from the minimum ones I've mentioned, the major one that is undermining the effort of this war right now is the fact that in 2004, I was involved in an evacuation. Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University, they had just slaughtered one boy in their mosque. A young Christian, Sunday Achi was his name. When I got there, the other students who had fatwas on them that were meant to be killed in a university, we evacuated them, brought them to Lagos. Like I said, I worked with CAN presidents through the years. And this has been happening through the years, so it's not as if it's a Buhari era thing. It's just that the buck stops at the table of leadership. Now, the major question we're asking ourselves is this. The young boys that we interviewed then, the testimonies we took, the person who put a fatwa on them and supervised the killing of
one of them is a federal minister now. Even after he was exposed globally. You see, how on earth do we want to... I mean, we are one of the people who are rallying people and saying, look, this thing is not religious. It is a religious cover. The best way we can win in Nigeria is, first of all, to blow the religious cover. It is not religious. It is not religious. But when a man who supervised the killing of a... And he was 31 years old then. So how do we give such an excuse? Who's going to listen to this?
Pastor Thompson, if you say you supervised the killing...
the evacuation.
The evacuation.
I supervised the evacuation. The guys supervised the killing.
That's what I'm saying.
I spoke to the people involved not too long ago. They are still shaking.
You were not there, sir.
I am saying I evacuated the students and I spoke to them.
Okay, so because this is, the minister is not here to be able to say his own side of what's going on, so we're just
apart from that, globally, he was on Al-Qaeda's website, globally, posting stuff in recent years. Now, once you see that, move him out of the way. How are we going to persuade our people to join hands with others across the nation if we, who are calming people down across the country, and they say, look, they know these things, this is common knowledge. Don't make Nigeria a laughing stock around the world. These things are common knowledge. Look, we have seen much bloodshed. We respect this country. We will make it. But all these ideas that we can get there without respecting truth, like Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa said, if we don't respect truth, let us not, they will beat us. Afghanistan, I told you this thing is a war of the heart. People fighting from the heart, if they can infiltrate you, begin to make people more sympathetic. And I'm telling you that these are the narratives. Okay, let's look at the issue of calling people terrorists, bandits. Listen, media is the first multiplier. We need to have a proper session where we know how to name a felon and call a felon a felon. Look, the person who brought up the idea of bandits probably thought it would lower the temperature of the country. But please, a man has cancer, you are treating him for malaria. We need to build consensus over this. Look, the beauty of a democracy, listen to me, is that the executive arm is one part of it. So if we run this democracy properly, what we are all... Look, the only thing that's going to kill Nigeria is cowardice, compromise, corruption. These are the things we need to fear. Darkness is never a problem.
Okay.
It is the refusal to shine light. So we must have, listen, to build this consensus for people to really gather together and push this thing out of Nigeria. It has to be clear to everybody that, look, if you want to Islamize Nigeria, it's not a crime. If you want to Christianize Nigeria, it's not a crime. But Nigeria is a nation with laws and rules, and as long as you abide, we don't allow you to rip up the bellies of people, to kill people, and then give excuses and say because a man is equal to a cow. What kind of logic is that?
Okay. Mr. Jeffo, the media seems to be an important part of this, because if you recall, a warning in quotes, came from the NBC not long ago about the reportage of terrorism all over the country. And in fact, it almost went as far as blaming the media for what was going on, saying that the media was glamorizing, not my words, glamorizing the reportage of what was going on. What are your thoughts about that? And what role should the media be playing in all of this? Not report at all?
Well, for me, that's a distraction. As far as I'm concerned, you can't ask the media not to report. The people need to be informed of what is going on. But a situation where the media, I believe that we have responsible media that will kind of draw a line between the national interest, things that are capable of inciting the people. They should be able to draw a line. So what the NBC is doing is actually, as far as I'm concerned, a distraction. We need to be informed. That's why it's called the fourth estate of the realm. And it's not possible for you to ask people not to report, but we must report responsibly. But I don't know what they mean by glamorizing, So we should think more of how to solve this problem instead of getting this side attraction, whether press reported or they didn't report. That's the least of our problem. Still talking about solutions, I think we should concentrate more efforts, change our strategy. At times, my heart bleeds when I discuss some of these issues. Take, for instance, a fighter jet, an Air Force jet, was brought down recently. How was it brought down? Who are the people involved in this? Like, we have all agreed that there's no lack of intelligence. The military, both the serving and retired, need to do some in-house searching, because apart from these bandits that have received foreign training from terrorist organizations, there are people who are also on ground, retired and serving, who are conniving, working with these bandits. So they cannot be more equipped. You know what it means to bring that? You must be in a position to use guided missile to bring down a jet. So we are in a serious war, very, very dangerous war, and we cannot be trivializing it. We must say the truth that we have a big challenge to change strategies, look at the ways of solving problems, do some in-house searching among the military, because I have said it, and I have empirical evidence that some of our serving and retired military people are involved in this, in connivance with. So I don't want to belong to the group of people who see things and see it a different way. So we need to do some in-house searching. I want to charge our military to look in-house, monitor the activities. We have what is called continuous vetting. Look at the lifestyle of some people, their movement. We'll be able to track down some of these people. Otherwise, if you don't have insiders, there's no justification for people to come into the NDA and just carry out operations successfully, and nobody is arrested as we speak. It's quite embarrassing. So we should leave the issue of media, whether reporting or not reporting. They know their rules. I also recall that about 2 years ago, the State Security Service organized a set of media executives where they were told, and I think they have been doing well, they were told on what to report on, especially national, where it involves national interest. You moderate it. You don't need to begin to gag or tell people what to report on. I believe we have a very responsible media, and I don't think they have much blame to do for now.
We're talking about solutions, and we know that in the recent past weeks, we see how some repentant Boko Haram members surrender. A lot of people, some people have said that, they have a bit of concern about, the acceptance. Governor Zulum has said that the way to go is to accept them so that, this war, they can get some information from them and this war can be won. What do you think we should do aside from the acceptance? What else do we need to do in terms of intelligence gathering, perhaps from them, and how to ensure that they also don't become another kind of threat?
Well, it's a double-edged sword, if you ask me. This issue of acceptance of the people, double-edged sword that we have had occasions where some repentant militants or bandits were integrated into the society. Few weeks after, they went back and attacked Damboa. Senator Dume confirmed it. And so people who have been in the forest for over 10 years fighting the state, you don't just take them and assimilate them like that. I believe that if you want to initiate that kind of peace moves, they should be able to be debriefed. And debriefing does not take just 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. There are people who are in IDP camps. They've not been to their place, no means of livelihood, and you are granting amnesty to the bandits. So why don't we build another camp for repentant Boko bandits, get them, teach them trade, at least reorient them, put them in there, put them out of circulation, let them be there for at least 1 year. If they will see genuine repentance, then you can bring them into the society. And besides, the people debriefing them should be able to know the level of involvement of each of them. Some are foot soldiers, some of them were conscripted, some of them are commanders. So you don't treat them at the same, you don't give them the same level of treatment. So this way I have problems with this amnesty. It's wrong for me as a person. It's completely wrong for you to take people and absorb them, settle them, and they will still go back.
Thank you, Mr. Ejiofor.
They receive a lot of training.
Thank you, Mr. Ejiofor. We need to bring in Mr. Adetayo at this point. Mr.
Adetayo. For him before, but
yeah, but okay. Mr. Adetayo, how are we sure of the sincerity of these repentant terrorists? Because we also hear, we don't know, I mean, I don't know how true it is, that some of them are actually recruited into our army. How are we sure of their sincerity?
One, I will want to toe the line of Barrister Ejiofor, not because it was my commitment, but because I agree with what he said in terms of the danger lurking. You see, calling this people to repent, surrender, and accept amnesty has been what we've been praying for. The Nigerian government has been working towards that. International organizations have even assisted us towards that. But we must ask ourselves this question. When it is now happening after so many years, and it is being received with so much trepidation, that is to show that the situation has changed. Perception of the people has changed. The way Nigerian people were looking at the situation has changed. And I also agree with them. Because if you look at, you see, government is like in a dilemma right now. The people that have surrendered under international convention, they are expected to be treated like prisoners of war. And I'm also giving some, because government has already spoken about amnesty. So if you go against it, it has its own downside. Now, if we accept those people against the wish and the will of the people, it will also dampen the morale of the people, especially people in that community, and it has its own downside. So government is actually the dilemma. But, at the end of the day, like you said, the box stops on the decks of the CDC to decide that how he wants to handle this. We will share our opinion, just like every Nigerian is speaking. But at the end of the day, the decision is his. And whatever the fallout of this will be recorded against the person who made the decision. Recently, the wife of one of the senior officers that was killed went, berserk online, making all sorts of, because she is yet to come over or come to terms or have closure on the death of the husband. And she had that, they are recruiting these people into the same military, the uniform that the husband wore with pride and was killed. And the people who killed the husband will now be wearing that same honorable uniform. Our action is understandable. So it's something that we need to actually look carefully, tread carefully. We should not forget the fact that we are dealing with people that are tactically sound, intelligence sound. And from our own background, and I know that's the same background Pastor Jofo is coming from, you can hardly trust somebody with intelligence background. It's yes, we've been laced with so much. It could be part of the plan to put some people out there for an end game, which we don't know yet. So the reason why you don't pick people like that and then want to start integrating them, you have to go through a lot of process, because an agent could be turned to become a double agent. A double agent can be turned to a double agent, as it is. So, to me, Nigerians are right. And also, on the ground of the governor of Borno, the man is hardworking. And I praise his boldness, his dedication to his duty. And like I said, it's like as if for the first time we are having governor in Borno State. You know, one begins to wonder, before now, where are all the monies in Borno State? How they been spent? Look at government gets money. We don't see all these things. Now we're seeing, materials being given to the people who actually need it, not just, announcement that local government allocation has been given. So if a man like that, working so hard, is saying that let's give them amnesty, it's coming from an angle of concern, and we must also respect its view. The more reason why stakeholders need to actually sit down together on this particular matter and look at it, and then start treating each of these bandits or maybe on case-by-case basis. It should be treated on case-by-case basis.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Adetayo.
Not on
Mr. Adetayo, I'm sorry to have to cut you short, but we need to wind down now, so I need to take your parting shots on this. And please, we are rethinking the security strategies. So, in one sentence, please, Pastor Ladi, your parting shot.
Well, I think the architecture of thought right now is the most important, and then followed by, the narrative war. Why do I mean so? Is that go to the legal aspect and go and look at what defines as terrorism in Nigeria. For every country, it's different. The Terrorism Act 2011-2013 is full of holes. So I don't blame the government, because even if we try to prosecute a lot of these people, I'm not sure that we have the legal machinery watertight to actually sort these things. So please, let us remember there's a lot more intelligence involved in this than just, throwing blows into the air.
Mr. Jeffo?
Yeah, just like Pastor Thompson said, we need more intelligence. And you don't manufacture intelligence without equipping the intelligence agencies. We will need to re-inject funds for the security agencies to get this in. And beyond that, we need foreign collaboration, foreign support to help us fight this. Otherwise, we'll be overwhelmed and overrun one day, I'm afraid.
Mr. Adetayo?
Okay, for me, in addition to what Pastor Thompson and Pastor Jofo said, we need to win the mind of the people. We need to enlist the people. Like it was said, these people are not up to 100,000. We can employ lots of killing Nigerian youths and bring them into this to support the military and also bring the community to this and will solve the problem.
Thank you very much. We have been chatting with Mr. Mike Ejiofor, who joined us from our studio in Abuja, Mr. Seyi Adetayo, Senior Regional Vice President, ACES International, as well as Pastor Ladi Thompson, all three of whom are security consultants. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming to share your insights with us this morning.
Pleasure.
Sunrise will be back in just a moment with another interesting conversation. Do be part of it.